What's up, guys? I'm Mike. I'm Natick. This is a trip, right? I get asked to do, I think, like a reasonable amount of NA meetings, but I've never been like on a stage with a microphone, so I'm kind of like freaking out a little bit. Who's got the 5 minute warning? I'm serious though. Like I could fill like a whole hour or so. So I'm just trying to hit like the pertinent stuff, man. And I appreciate everything you had to say. And I'm really grateful to be here and be asked to do this. No one was asking me to show up for anything towards the end of the road. No one wanted to hear much about like my experience or like advice or take on how to live life, right? Because it just wasn't going well, right? And I'm talking no one, right? Like my family had more or less ostracized me. My friends, even like the recovery community, right? Because like my story is like this is not my first time getting clean, right? And I never thought I would get clean. I never thought I would stay clean. When I did stay clean the first time, I had a couple years. I never thought I'd make it back here again. Like there's just a lot to that. And like if you go around my area, like I'm sure you guys have this here, but like I was the guy that like in the meeting, everyone was like, yeah, that dude's never gonna get it, right? And there were like a lot of really good reasons for that. Because I was just like, I was completely bent on trying every other method of filling this hole and like fixing this like emptiness that I couldn't even really like put my finger on like what it was. Other than recovery steps, certainly not God. I was not a God guy. Did not come here for God. I didn't believe in God. I honestly like when I got here, I thought God was for weak people, right? I thought God was for weak people, and I was like, man, and I was always like, I wish I could believe in that, right? I see how people are so comforted by faith. And I was like, I just don't have that. Like, I just knew in my heart, I was like, I'm alone out here, right? Like, I have to figure it out, and I have to like scratch and claw to get what I want, or like I'm not going to get it, right? And so that's like what I did. My whole life was just this process, right, of like seeking external stuff. And in the wake of that, I was just like a wrecking ball to like everyone in my life, right? And I was not a good dude. And like that took various different forms, right? Like obviously like drugs, alcohol, loved me my drugs and alcohol. And but like tons of other stuff, right? Like I tried like every external solution, every plan that I could think of. The make more money plan, the have more sex plan, the get a hotter girlfriend plan, the get a better job, get a nicer car, eat more food, eat less food, go to the gym, take steroids, like whatever. Like I tried all the plans that I knew how to try to like feel better about life and myself and like kind of feel some joy, and it just like it always came up short, right? And so when I went into RCA April 5th of 2022, sometimes I forget like what year we're in. I don't know if anybody else does that. I thought I was 32 the other day, and I'm 34. So like I wasn't even 1 year off. I was like 2 entire years off. So that happens. But yeah, so April 5th of 2022, which is my clean date, right? Like, it was not my first treatment center. I didn't even think it would be my last treatment center, for real. It was, I think, like my 17th treatment center, not including inpatient detoxes and psych wards and short, brief stays in jail. Not like some tough guy stuff, right? Like, I did a few days here and there. Like, all that stuff, right? And I'm in this treatment center, and I wasn't looking to change anything, right? Like Zach said, I came in on methadone maintenance because towards the end, like I really thought methadone maintenance was the best I could do. Like I was like, something has to like at least dampen like the flames of my addiction, right? And I don't care like if it's methadone maintenance, it is what it is, right? As long as I'm not like homeless in the streets with a needle in my neck, like I'll take it. And so I came in there, and over the course of the last couple years prior to getting on methadone, or to coming into treatment this last time, because I was on maintenance, I was able to kind of amass some stuff. I was able to build a business. I was able to make a good income. I was able to do all the stuff to make everyone around me, well, I thought, think that I was doing well. They didn't think I was doing well. I thought they thought that I was doing well. Everyone knew I was doing really bad. But you know what I mean? It was the self-esteem sweepstakes plan, right? Like, I'm gonna get the $100,000 car, and I'm gonna get the crazy shoes and the jewelry and the this and the that, right? And I was like, if I'm making enough money and I run a successful business, it's kind of like my right as a red-blooded American to shoot dope and coke if I want to, right? I thought that was fair. And I got into this treatment center not because I wanted to get clean, but because my business partner found out, right? And I say found out he didn't know for a long time. Because you come to work high enough times and wreck enough cars and have enough stomach bugs that you can't get into work, you know what I mean, in succession. They figure out what's up, right? And so he left, right? He left, he took my team with him, and I'm talking, dude, I hated this guy. I remember thinking to myself, how dare he do this to me, right? I was like, I built this shit with my bare hands. He's gonna go down in flames without me, right? He didn't, right? Not that I don't think I'm an asset, man, when I'm doing well, but I just had this massively inflated sense of self. And I couldn't understand it, right? Meanwhile, everyone that I was my partner, the people who were working for me, all this, they were fucking terrified, right? They had no job security. They had nothing, right? They were constantly in fear that I was gonna blow something up, right? And so he left, and I went on a bender first, like a good addict does, because I had to go on a bender before I went to treatment, because you can't go into treatment otherwise. That's what I thought. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to treatment. I'm going to do my time, and I'm gonna convince everybody I'm doing great. I'm gonna go home, and I'm gonna, run the same plan back, right? To make more money, buy more stuff, feel better about Mike, everybody think I'm doing well, look at me plan, right? And that was it, man. I had no intention of getting off methadone, none of that, right? And the first guy actually said before me, I was blessed to have an experience, right? I had a moment when I was in that treatment center, and I don't know what or why or where it came from, right? But I walked up to my room, and I just I'd spent a week mean mugging everybody there and refusing to make friends and being I don't need to be here, right? I was the dude who wore I wore my Rolex and my Balenciagas to the treatment center just so you guys knew that I wasn't doing as bad as you were and that I didn't actually need to be here. I was that fucking guy. And so I'm in the room, right? And I just broke down, dude. I broke down crying, sobbing, ugly crying. And I don't know what happened, but for the first time in my life, I saw precisely the results that all of my best thinking had ever got me, right? In a way that I couldn't miss. And I was acutely aware of the fact that I had tried everything I knew how to try to feel better about life and be successful and do things my way. And I was, at best, gonna end up in another treatment center, right? At best. And I've lost a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people get locked up for a very long time. I mean, I've seen all of it, right? So at best, another treatment center. And I broke down, and I said a prayer to a God I didn't believe in, and I said, God, if you are real, help me get clean or kill me, and I don't care which, right? And that was legitimately, probably to this day, the most honest thing I've ever said in my life, right? Because that's really how I felt. Towards the end, I wasn't afraid to die. I was afraid to go another decade of the pain and the hell that I had been walking through every day, right? Not even just the obsession to use drugs, man, but towards the end, I wanted to die, I just didn't believe there was any hope for a guy like me. I saw this work for other people. I thought I was worse than them. I had this complex that I was so much worse than other people, right? Like I'm special. And so that's what I said, right? And I said, if you're real, give me a sign, you know? That's what I said. And you know, Zach mentioned it, right? But his appearance in my life was like one of those moments, right? He brought this meeting in, and I got hokey-doked into the meeting. She was like, the NA meeting's outside, because she knew if she told me the faith-based meeting was like, I would have never gone, right? You guys would have a totally different person up here right now. I would probably be in an abandoned minium in West Baltimore somewhere. Like, it was a near miss, right? And I got out there, and he was talking, and I just saw everything about me in this guy, right? Like, he was nailing me with every word he said. And that was the first of many things like that, right? I went to the first NA meeting I had gone to since I got in the treatment center, because like I said, when I first got in there, I was just like, I'm not going to go to NA meetings. Like, they don't work, right? I had tried these before. They don't work. I happened to go in there, and the guy who's now my sponsor was speaking, and like he talked about, like, the man word for word almost told my story. He had driven like 5 hours to get there. I mean, so a little bit of background on me. I'm Lebanese nationality, right? My father passed away of an overdose 10 years ago, right? And that's the Lebanese side. And so I'm sitting in this meeting, and the speaker's name's Habib, which I thought was weird because, like, growing up, my parents always called me and my sister Habibi, which means my love in Arabic, right? So I'm like, Habib? Like, what? And I'm listening to this guy, and he's nailing me, and then I just had this voice, right? It was like, if you don't talk to this guy after this meeting, you're going to die. And I still get chills when I talk about it, right? And then the next thought I had, which is even more interesting, was ask him if he's Lebanese, and if he's Lebanese, ask him to sponsor you, right? So, like, that was my criteria for sponsorship, was a Lebanese man, right? And so I walked up to him after this meeting, and I was like, I got a weird question, dude. Like, I just got straight to it. I got a weird question, dude. I was like, what nationality are you? And I, like, almost, like, looked at him, like, skeptically, right? And I got you. I told you, man, I'm a talker, dude. And he's like, I'm Lebanese, right? And my jaw hit the floor. And that was like the moment, just to speed things up, right, where like my whole life I have intellectualized and had to agree with everything, or I'm not doing it, right? And so God was never going to work for a guy like me, because it's not a thing that can be intellectualized, right? Like, if God could be intellectualized, God wouldn't be God, right? And so I couldn't figure that out. And in that moment, all I knew was like, I got my sign, and I didn't have to ask any more questions, right? I was like, something is there, something is looking out for me, something wants me to follow this path, let's follow this path, right? And so I got on that path, and it took me a lot of places, like recovery, dude, right? Is like, I was talking in a meeting on Monday, and like, if anybody didn't tell you yet, like, I'm sorry, but like, recovery is just doing a bunch of stuff you don't feel like doing, like, super often, right? And like, that's what happened, man. But the difference was like, I was finally in a place where I was like a teachable person, right? I was, like you talked about, so broken, like busted up, out of ideas, that I was finally just willing to say yes. That's all I had to do. And everyone always told me, it's so simple, just, you know, take the suggestions. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, right? But literally, like, all I did is, like, I showed up and I said yes, right? I was met at the level of my needs every time with people who had guidance and direction and things that were placed in my life to kind of bring me a little further on the path. I just said yes, right? Couple things, like going to a sober living, didn't want to, had a place, had money, had been to $1 million before, went to a sober living, right? Got it back into step work, meeting every day. All this stuff I didn't think I wanted to do, right? And I just did it. And the result, to wrap this up, is like, everything about my life is incredibly different. And I'm not just talking about the fact that I don't get high anymore. I don't get high anymore. I haven't got, if God willing, a month from now, I'll have 2 years clean, right? That's fucking, it's crazy. That's crazy, right? I thought every day about using drugs, right? All day, every day. But more than that, like, I'm not suicidally depressed anymore. My family is in my life, and they can count on me. I'm the kind of guy who, like, you could ask people in my community about, and like, they would like have overwhelmingly like good things to say about versus bad things. Like, that's not my story, man. And the biggest thing is that, like, I'm just like, I'm okay. I'm okay with who I am. I'm okay with, like, what I bring to the table. I'm okay with my place in this universe. And I got a relationship with God that works for me, man. Like, and through that, I feel like I said, my whole life, I felt like I was out here like this alien in this, like, vacuum, right? Like, I got to figure it all out. And, like, dude, today, like, life gets scary, problems happen, things happen, right? Like everybody else. But, like, I just know now. Like, I know. I've been through so much already that I just know, like, if I just keep showing up, keep saying yes, service is big for me, man. Trying to help other guys with, like, to get a gift like this and not give it back, like, I can't understand, right? And I just know, like, I know if I just keep taking the suggestions, saying yes, and moving my feet, like, it's going to be okay, And amazing stuff has happened in my life. I'm looking at buying a house next month. I am, like, my business rebounded. Like I said, my family's back. Like, all sorts. I'm in the first healthy relationship I've ever been in my entire life, right? I didn't know that was a thing. I thought relationships were like, let's just scream at each other and then we'll have sex afterward and then we'll repeat that process until one of us, like, tries to kill each other and then we'll split. You know what I mean? Seriously. And dude, it's all different, man. Like, the stuff that has changed, I never thought could change. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be out here. I'm grateful to be asked to speak. Thank you, Zach. That's all I got.